on to some big breaking developments coming in right this minute. Kulbhushan Jadhav, the Indian national, filed for a mercy plea. In a statement, Pakistani army has said Commander Kulbhushan Jadhav, the serving Indian naval officer who has been sentenced to death on charges of espionage, sabotage and terrorism, has made a mercy petition to the Chief of Army Staff. In his plea, Commander Jadhav has admitted his involvement in espionage, terrorist and subversive activities in Pakistan and expressed remorse at the resultant loss of many precious innocent lives and extensive damage to property due to his actions. Seeking forgiveness for his actions, he has requested the Chief of Army Staff to spare his life on compassionate grounds. Commander Jadhav had earlier appealed to the military appellate court, which was rejected, remember. Kulbushan Jadhav in the latest has filed for a mercy plea. Under the law, he is eligible to appeal for clemency to the Chief of Army Staff, which he has already done, and if rejected, subsequently to the President of Pakistan. His second confessional video, in which he can be seen accepting his acts of terrorism and espionage, also released so that the world should know what India has done. Now, our political editor Kartikeya Sharma is joining us on the broadcast for more on this. Break this down for our viewers, Kartikeya. That's big breaking news that's coming in this minute, and also that statement that's been released.
I think this is absolutely in a banal way. The Pakistan government has tried to use a doctored confessional statement for the second time to create an image of Kulbhushan Jadhav that he is an Indian spy. See, what is happening at two fronts. One, let me read out the exact wording of the ICPR. Now, ICPR says that Commander Kulbhushan, the word is Commander Kulbhushan Jadhav, serving Indian naval officer who has been sentenced to death on the charges of espionage, sabotage and terrorism, has made a mercy petition to the Chief of Army Staff. So at one end, you are saying that we are complying by what's happening at The Hague, which is the international court. So that has been taken care in the first paragraph. And in the second paragraph, it goes on to say, in his plea, Commander Jadhav has admitted his involvement in espionage, terrorism, subversive activities in Pakistan, expressed remorse at the resultant loss of many precious innocent lives. And then you release the tape to public. So second, you try to quench the thirst of your own domestic audience, which think that in Jadhav as a scapegoat, they will be able to find all the answers of terrorism which afflicts Pakistan, which is born out of the policy of the army. And then it goes on to say that the Commander Jadhav has earlier appealed to the military appellate court, which was rejected, and the law is eligible to appeal to the clemency to the COS. His second confessional video, which has been very easily released to the press, the interview taken with lights on, as it done by professional cameras, and it says in which he has been seen accepting his acts of terrorism and espionage, is also released so that the world should know what India has done and continues to do against Pakistan. So for Jadhav is not an issue here of human right. Jadhav is an issue for Pakistan to prove that India is promoting terrorism.
The larger message
it's a
being
way
given to the
hide behind
audience.
what Pakistan has been doing in Afghanistan and Kashmir. That is the brute reality of this video, and I think that India will have to counter it both diplomatically and bilaterally. That they are using an individual, his plight, who was abducted from Iran, to prove a point against India. So I think this is just a propaganda drive on part of Pakistan, and it has to be seen and understood only in that light.
Absolutely, Kartikeya. The last statement, if we can also then take this across to our viewers once again, the last statement of the last line of that statement, his second confessional video, in which he can be seen accepting the acts of terrorism and espionage, is also released so that the world should know what India has done and continues to do against Pakistan. The larger message, Kartikeya, being given to the domestic audience in Pakistan, as you also mentioned, the kind of messaging here is more for the civil society in Pakistan.
No, because the larger issue is you have not allowed Jadhav counselor access. The parents cannot meet them. But these tapes are coming out one by one. Why are these tapes being manufactured? Why was Pakistan insisting in Hague that these tapes should be shown to the judges? The judges refuse to see.
Absolutely. Very important to highlight here once again, and a reminder for our viewers that the International Court of Justice at The Hague had refused to play out that alleged confessional video, that Pakistan had as sole proof against Indian national Kulbhushan Jadhav. The International Court of Justice at The Hague had refused for that video to be played out as a confessional video. That, of course, was a clear snub to Pakistan. But now, in the latest that's coming in, that last sentence of that statement says that a second confessional video is also being released so that the world should know what India has done and continues to do against Pakistan. Let me just also once again read out the major operative portion from that ISPR press release given out just moments ago. Commander Kulbhushan Jadav, the serving Indian naval officer who has been sentenced to death on charges of espionage, sabotage and terrorism, has made a mercy petition to the Chief of Army Staff. Our Pakistan Bureau Chief Taha Siddiqui is now joining us for more on this from Islamabad. Taha, over to you.
Well, basically, the military spokesperson, the ISPR, has just released a statement in which they've said that the Kulbushan Jadav's mercy petition has been received by the Pakistan Army Chief. They have also further state that basically Kulbushan Jadav had the right to appeal to the appellate military tribunal after his conviction, and that appeal was rejected, and after that now he has filed for a mercy petition in front of the Army Chief of Pakistan, in which he has also, again, according to the statement, says that that Kulbhushan has said that he is he apologizes and he asks for forgiveness for spying in Pakistan and being involved in espionage activities, and asks for mercy petition for mercy from the Chief of Army Staff. At the same time, another video of his confession has also been released by the ISPR, in which he's repeating somewhat of the same claims that we saw in the earlier video that came out last year, in which he was talking about being involved in espionage activities. So this is what basically has happened as of now.
Right, Taha, Karthike, go ahead.
Taha, Karthike from the studio. My question to you, Taha, is that he has not got counsel or access, but why are these tapes being released? The tape which the International Court of Arbitration Hague did not want to see is again being released in the press. What is the logic behind it, Taha?
Well, Karthike, that was what we were expecting, that after the ICJ statement and ICJ sort of order, there would be no further development on this case, and this would stand still. And then the very fact that consular access was not given to Kulbhushan Jadav, and the Indian High Commission had repeatedly asked for that, and despite that, no consular access was given. His family was not given visas to come and visit him, and no lawyers were willing to represent him in Pakistan. So, given all of that, the very fact that how his appeal to the appellate tribunal, military tribunal, could be sort of rejected. It doesn't seem like there's a transparent process to begin with, first of all. So we don't really know, did he appeal on his own behalf? Did he actually even get a lawyer to appeal? Those kind of details are not, the ISPR has not been forthcoming about them. The only details they've shared with the media are that his appeal was rejected at the appellate tribunal, the military tribunal, which he had the right to do so after his conviction of 40 days. He had a right to appeal to them, and that appeal has been rejected, and now he's filed for a mercy petition. So information is very sort of limited in this particular case, and as you know already,
so Taha,
the military has been handling the...
Taha, can you explain the procedure to the viewers as to what happens now? What's the time limit? How many days can the the concerned authority can take? What's the disposal of limit, or is there no limit at all?
Well, right now, basically, the mercy petition will be in front of the Army Chief, and it depends on his it will be on his prerogative to whether reject it or accept it. And in that way, it will take as much time as the Army Chief takes time to respond to it. And then after that, he still has one more appeal to go to, which will be in front of the Pakistani president, and the Pakistani president can also accept or reject it. I mean, depending on if, for example, the Army Chief rejects it, then he can appeal to the Pakistani president, and then if he rejects it, then the execution might happen.
Right.
Or if there or if at the level of the army chief he accepts the appeal, the mercy petition, so then maybe things will look different.
Right, so Taha, as we've been talking about how this case once again puts into light how Pakistan has no respect for international norms, flouting diplomatic norms, repeated consular access that was denied to Kulbhushan Jadav, and now after that snub at the International Court of Justice as well, a second confessional video, as you just pointed out. No surprises there, but what's the way forward now for Kulbhushan Jadav?
Well, I mean, that's what we were expecting was that after the ICJ verdict and after the sort of the order by the ICJ, it was sort of being interpreted in Pakistan as a stay order too. Pakistan would be fighting its case in the International Court of Justice. But it seems like that was basically what the civilians in Pakistan were telling us. The Foreign Office in Pakistan was telling us. Sartaj Aziz, the advisor to Foreign Ministry to the Pakistani Prime Minister, he was telling us this in repeated statements that we are going to fight the case in the International Court of Justice. But back at home, once again, it seems like the ISPR has sort of taken its own line and taken its own sort of initiative, as we saw earlier also when the ISPR released the statement about the conviction of Kulbushan Jadav and the death sentencing. Many parliamentarians here, many people from the government here were surprised in Pakistan also as to what and how this happened, and they had no idea about it when we spoke to them. So similarly, once again, it seems like the Pakistan Army or the ISPR in this case, which is the spokesperson for the military, has preempted it and has gone ahead with this particular case, and not much information is being shared with the civilian side. So now we'll have to wait and see what the civilian side have to say about this, because they're the ones who are fighting the case at the ICJ.
Right, and Kartike, as we've been also discussing the MEA's position here, which has categorically every now and then maintained, even in the latest statement, that Pakistan has refused to, even at the latest request, refused to grant consular access to Kulbhushan Jadav, and is now going a step further and putting out an alleged confessional video, a second video.
See, the confessional video is a propaganda tool. The first confessional video was to say that he, confessed, and he says that, he was doing it on behalf of RAW. The second is to reiterate and reinforce that point, because the first confessional video is, people have not spoken about it, it's outside the political discourse now. So you insert the second one. So this is not about Jadav getting justice in Pakistan. This is not about Jadav, moving papers in Pakistan. This is a simple propaganda on part of Pakistan to prove that Jadav says that he is a spy. He had come to Balochistan. He was the Superman who was destroying towns after towns, and that's what he did. So, we have to simply put it in that context. But larger issue, again, I would say that, the terrorists which have been caught in India, they were tried in civil courts. UN in its torture report has also said that why can't Pakistan try all these cases in the civil courts? There has to be a lawyer given to me. Even Kasab had a lawyer. Even those in earlier terrorist attack, they were also given lawyers. In this case, the lawyer has not been given because the lawyers have taken a certain issue. So it's a very legally and politically complicated episode. Neither the guy gets the justice nor he gets the support. Only thing he gets to do is move letters, and the ISI gets to release the video statements. If the justice has to be seen also. It should have been in the civil court. There should be trial, counselor, etc. If the man is guilty, then, India is not going to invade Pakistan on this issue. But then the certain processes of law have to be in position and they have to be followed. It's as simple as that. And the best example I could come up with is Kasab. The case was tried in civil court,
yes,
in complete public gaze.
Absolutely. Taha also once again reiterating how the first confessional video, also the circumstances under which that video was shot, whether or not there was any duress on Kulbhushan Jadav, none of that of course was made clear, and also the proceedings of the military court in Pakistan earlier also, nothing to that respect was actually made available to the media, to the world. So the clear message here that's been given out by Pakistan is that it is going to continue with its farce, despite that snub being given at the International Court of Justice.
Definitely. I mean, the way this whole case has been handled with the media information that we have received, it's been very limited, as I was mentioning earlier also. and it's been just one-sided communication. There hasn't been sort of a press conference where they have brought in Kulbhushan and or for example, the military has come to sort of, present its case, and then the press would ask them questions back and forth, like in normal, sort of cases where they are alleging that this person is involved in so many activities, so many terrorist activities. So then there has been, and there are lots of journalists in Pakistan that have questioned the very fact that when initially this whole case came to light, the military and the authorities said that they will be sharing more evidence with regards to Kulbhushan's activities in Pakistan, Kulbhushan's sort of, activities in Balochistan and these espionage and terrorist activities that they allege that he was involved in, and the network that he was working with. But subsequently, we haven't received any other information except for statements from the military or statements from the Foreign Office saying that Kulbhushan was involved in so-and-so act of terrorism. But how did they prove that? Where was the evidence? Where is the network? All of those questions remain today too also. And then again, when we talk to the civilians and when we talk to the civil government, they basically themselves seem to not be aware of things that that must have got that Kulbhushan, the whole trial, how it went around, the military courts, nobody was allowed access to it. There was complete no transparency at all, and complete sort of blackout of what went down behind the scenes. And everybody was just given a press statement at the end of it and said, and that press statement then is what we have been covering. So in that sense, again, the similar sort of thing that we're seeing again today with this press statement from the ISVR saying that, this is what has happened now, that his appeal to the appellate bench, to the military tribunal appellate bench has been rejected. How was it rejected? Was he given a lawyer? Was he provided any, legal access? Was it under sort of, and then this video that was been released also, was this video also, recorded under any duress or not? It's usually heavily edited. The last video was also quite heavily edited with cuts and breaks, making it very suspicious. So all of these are big questions that need to be answered, but there is nobody to answer them. The authorities are communicating in a very, very one-sided way when it comes to Kulbhushan's case.
Absolutely. Stay on with us, Taha. We're also getting in quick updates from our senior correspondent Raghavendra Rao, who's joining us from New Delhi. Raghavendra, it is a huge message that Pakistan is giving out, that it is going to continue with the fast that it has been putting out, not just in the public domain, but also at the International Court of Justice, despite that snub and that first confessional video not being allowed to be played out as a part of the court proceedings at The Hague. A second alleged confessional video being put out by Pakistan.
Well, absolutely, Molly, and what is clearly visible now is that Pakistan is not shying away from escalating this matter further. The kind of confessional statement that the Pakistani ISPR has put out, this purported confessional statement of Kulbushan Jadav, it makes for very interesting reading. I mean, it says things like that, in his confession, Jadav has told the Pakistani authorities that the authorities in India, the research and analysis wing, the RNAW, they were hoping, or they were in the know, that Narendra Modi would be elected as the Prime Minister of India by 2014, and this has something to do with him being, sent first to Iran and then asking him to try to infiltrate 30 to 40 raw personnel into the Baloch rebels. I mean, you just go through this entire confessional, so-called confessional statement, the kind of imagery, it has, the kind of, I mean, it almost reads like a thriller. And, one would, have very many reasons to doubt whether, whether Mr. Kulbhushan Jadhav actually has given this confessional statement, or was he made to sign under duress on a pre-written kind of a statement? But the kind of, if one were to read this confessional statement carefully, it's almost as if Kulbhushan Jadav is signing his own death warrant.
Yes.
I mean, it reads as if Jadav is acknowledging all the wrongdoings which Pakistan has been alleging. It gives in great detail how he traveled from Iran to Pakistan via road, how he was carrying 2 passports, how he had multiple identities, how he was inducted by the RNDW to infiltrate the Baloch leadership there, and position RNDW members there so as to increase subversive activities in the Balochistan region. So I mean, if one were to read that confessional statement, one would assume that Mr. Jadav actually is signing his own death warrant, and which is highly unlikely.
Absolutely, Raghavendra. Also taking a step back and looking at this entire case, and also the larger message here being that Pakistan has no respect for international norms, for diplomatic rules. It has flouted those earlier with respect to denying India consular access, a basic right to the Indian national, and now going ahead and releasing this confessional video. But the fact remains that a message that's also being Pakistan is also trying to give out to the civil society in Pakistan, trying to look like all is in order within the domestic area.
Well, yes, and the basic disregard for international law could not have been more visible, than in the instance where till date the Indian authorities, despite repeated requests, have not been granted consular access. I mean, what is Pakistan scared of? I mean, you have a person in your custody, you have arrested him, you have held a military trial against him. What do you have to hide? Why would you not allow representatives from his country meet him? That is the basic question which has gone unanswered from the Pakistani side till now. And the fact that the ICJ, when India took up the matter to the ICJ seeking a stay on Jadhav's execution and successfully managed to do so. Now, the last we had heard was that India was supposed to file its submissions into the case before the ICJ in September, 13th September to be precise, and Pakistan was given the date of 13th of December to file its counter submission. Now, that process is already on. The fact that a new video has been released, the fact that the earlier video, there were a lot of question marks already on that earlier video. That video was not even allowed by the ICJ to be shown as evidence during that court hearing at The Hague. It's clear that Pakistan is trying every trick in the book to keep the matter alive, to escalate it further, and it remains to be seen the kind of diplomatic response the Indian side will give on today's developments.
Absolutely. Before we go in for a short break, I believe our Pakistan Bureau Chief Taha Siddiqui is still waiting by over the phone line. Taha, as we just discussed, there is no set timeline even now. So in spite of that mercy plea and in spite of that statement, as the procedure goes, we do not know whether or not there will be any step forward when it comes to Kulbhushan Jadhav's matter in due time from now.
Well, right now, basically, the army chief is supposed to either accept or reject the mercy petition, so according to the law under which Kulbhushan has been tried, which is the Military Act of Pakistan, he will basically be either given the mercy petition will either be approved or it will be rejected, and that depends on the army chief. There's no time frame as such given for that. And after that, if, for example, the army chief rejects it, then it goes to the president, and then the president has to accept it or reject it, and then finally it goes towards carrying out the death penalty if it is rejected by both the army chief and the president. So right now he has the army chief as the first step, and then the president as the next step, and then the third step would be the punishment being carried out if in case it's rejected.
All right, let's leave it there for the moment. Taha Siddiqui joining us from Islamabad and Raghavendra Rao from New Delhi. Appreciate both of you joining us on the broadcast right this minute. We'll, of course, continue to take this forward on the other side of a very short break. Stay with us.